Philippians 2, 3, and 4. Don't be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble. Thinking of others is better than yourselves. Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. New Living Translation. Do you remember playing in the sandbox? I remember one my neighbor had. It was huge, at least in the eyes of a 5-year-old. It was big enough to have roads and bridges and trucks of every size. It was big enough to dig holes to China and back. We would play for hours in the sand. We built superhighways before there was such a thing. But one thing always happened. What my friend had, I wanted, and what I had, he wanted. Not only did we want what the other one had, but we would always build the biggest bridge and dig the deepest hole trying to outdo one another. Until I got to the point, whatever he built, mine was 1 inch longer, bigger, deeper, and what he had, we would begin to fight over. Out came the mothers, into the house went the boys, and the next day we would start it all over again. Oh, that life could be that easy again. Paul evidently saw a similar thing happening with the church folks at Philippi. Somewhere along the way, they had fallen into a way of life contrary to the earlier days of the church where they shared everything in common. It seems that some began to hoard things for themselves, even though they already had enough. And then to make matters worse, they used what they had to try and impress others with their things. The best times in the sandbox were when we shared everything and worked together to build the biggest bridge or dig the deepest hole to China. We accomplish a lot more when we work together. Isn't that the Christ-like way? Paul tells us we're not to be selfish, and we're certainly not to try to impress others. Jesus never did that, and if we're to be Christ-like, neither should we. Most of us have more than what we need, and quite frankly, what we have is usually only valuable to us. The world's not so impressed with our stuff. So why not share with others? That is Christ-like. Why not serve one another in humility? That too is Christ-like. Why not look out for others and share the blessings God has given to each of us? Verse 5 really says it all. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had.